Before the crime that would define eternity, there was the divide.
This was Kemet, the Black Land, a kingdom built on order and watered by the love of its king. This was Osiris, Lord of Life, order personified. He was beloved.
But order casts a shadow.
A shadow called Deshret, the Red Land. And its master, Seth, Lord of Chaos. He was strong.
Death, creation, and destruction. Two brothers, ruling two halves of a whole. This was the balance, handed down by the Creator. But this balance held no peace for the sons of Earth. The four children of Geb and Nut were meant to rule this balance.
Osiris, the king, and Isis, the queen of magic. Together, they embodied Ma'at, order. They were loved, worshipped, and for one of the four, this adoration was a poison.
The third child, Seth, ruled from a fortress of spite. His strength was absolute, but strength is not the same as love.
And the fourth child, Nephthys, the shadow, wife to Seth, yet invisible to him.
Four children, four fates. One of love, one of emptiness. For to be strong and yet unseen is a torment that breeds monsters.
He looked upon his brother's kingdom, not with fraternity, but with envy. Every celebration, every song, every prayer for Osiris.
All hail Osiris! All hail!
It was a hammer blow against the fortress of Seth's mind.
Envy. A desert serpent, coiling around his heart,
Osiris, I'll get you for this.
The camera moves so that the final frame fully shows the full bodies of all characters. All characters must obey.
His order was absolute, effortless.
They praise the one by damning the other.
The gods have saved us. Praise be to Horus.
They praised his brother's calm and cursed his own nature.
The decree had been set by Geb, the earth itself.
One was given life. The other was given a prison of sand. Let the desert consume them all. But what is the worth of power if it is never worshipped?
Strength was a curse, for it could only destroy. It could not create what he truly wanted.
But Seth was not the only one tormented. Nephthys, the shadow, craved the light.
Craved it so much, she would steal its shape, hoping to steal its warmth. A deception born of desperation
A single act.
that would seal the fate of them all.
The act was done, and the seed of discord was literally sown.
The child was born, a jackal in the house of the storm, a child of shadow and of life.
And in that moment, the Lord of Chaos understood.
Bioism.
He's dead. I can't feel him.
This was the final humiliation, the ultimate slight.
His own wife,
Had sought the light,
his own blood.
was not his own.
The House of Seth offered no sanctuary, only shadow.
The pillars of his sanity were crumbling. His kingdom, his wife, his strength, all meaningless. All of his rage, all of his humiliation had one source. A beacon of perfection that made his own existence a living hell.
If the world would not respect his strength,
Then he would make it fear his chaos. The decision was made. Act 2, the contempt. The envy had now solidified into a plan.
A vessel of perfect beauty, designed for a perfect death. But first, he needed the measurements.
He violated the sanctity of his brother's home to measure him for his grave.
Her magic sensed the violation, but the deception held. The thread was secured.
A cage, beautiful, and proof against the magic he feared most. Isis.
Take this. Forge the vessel.
The finest materials, gathered by the harshest means. Adorned with the very symbol of protection and royal power. The vessel was ready. A masterpiece of hatred, disguised as a gift. The trap was forged. The conspirators were gathered. Now,
the serpent now offered an olive branch.
the bait was laid.
I'm picking this eye.
But kindness cannot see the serpent coiled at its own feet.
And so, the King of Life walked willingly toward...
The night of the feast, the Hall of Chaos was dressed in the silks of order. The entire pantheon gathered to celebrate a lie, and in the center of the room, the guest of honor had arrived. Even here, in his hall, the light followed him. He played the gracious host, leading the lamb to the slaughter.
It warms my heart to see you in my hall, brother.
But Wisdom did not join the party. Wisdom watched.
The warriors were not celebrating. They were waiting. The King of Life celebrated his own wake. He drank the poison of false hope, offered by the serpent himself.
And with those words of perfect, stupid, trusting love, he sealed his fate.
The trust was the deepest insult of all.
The trap was set.
The trap. Beautiful.
While others saw gold, the sorceress saw the lead.
The game was announced.
They laughed. The gods of Egypt laughed at the sight of the coffin.
But the lone voice of reason was drowned by the chorus of fools.
The game began, a prelude to the sacrifice.
This chest is clearly defective.
Just admit you're too large, warrior. The spider waited for the fly.
Conspirators guided the chorus, and the crowd sang him to his doom. OSIRIS!
The King of Life walks his final steps.
The moment stretches. The point of no return. I am Osiris, King of Kemet, and I will face my fate.
Too late! The warning was swallowed by the night. No! The trap was set. The queen was caged.
This is the final invitation. The shape of oblivion. He lay down in his own coffin.
A perfect fit, measured by betrayal itself.
Now,
order.
The trap springs. The game was over. The moment of truth. Chaos claims the throne. Chaos had also planned for magic, the finality, the act of damnation. The king begins to fight.
His strength fading.
Final seal, not just of wood, but of magic dampening lead. Sealed in darkness, in silence. Lord of life, suffocated in the dark. Gasp.
The sound of a universe breaking.
No time for mourning. The evidence had to vanish.
The pantheon paralyzed by fear. The reign of chaos had begun.
The goddess of magic, thrown aside like a child. The assassins became the pallbearers. They marched the dead king from the land of chaos to the sacred river of life. A final insult to deny the Lord of Life a burial in the earth he loved. He would drown his brother in the very source of his power. 1, 2.
The symbol of protection cast into the abyss.
The king is given to the river. And the river kept the secret. The brother of the storm had become the king of silence. Act 3, the second rage. The feast had become a coup. Lord of the Red Land claimed the
Black Land as his own.
Order was dead, and in its place, fear was crowned.
The shock gave way to the grief.
He let her go. And the shadow finally betrayed the dark. Followed the broken light. She shed her divine form to take the shape of a mourner.
And so,
The search began.
She searched the river, every bank, every delta, every shadow.
But the river held its silence, terrified of the new god of chaos.
Days turned into weeks. Grief turned into obsession.
The chest had left Egypt, carried by the current, to the lands of Byblos.
It came to rest. Were of foreigners at Intabua, in a foreign land. And the earth, recognizing its fallen king, grew a monument around him, a living tomb, a pillar of life, hiding a cage of death. It smelled of divinity.
Mortals are always drawn to divine power, even when they do not understand it. And so, the king of Egypt was cut down a second time. He became a pillar in a foreign palace, hidden in plain sight.
But magic always finds its source.
The trail of her grief led her across the great green to the halls of a mortal king.
She could not take the pillar by force, so she would take it by cunning. The scent of the god was her invitation.
She placed herself at the heart of the mortal court, close to the heart of her husband.
As thanks, she sought to burn away the child's mortality.
but mortal fear broke the divine ritual. The deception ended. The goddess revealed herself.
Her grief had given way to divine, righteous rage.
And mortal royalty bowed to divine grief. They tore apart the living tomb, racing against her rage. Found! The end of the search.
The confirmation.
Of the loss.
The Queen of Egypt became its first widow.
The two sisters, the widow and the betrayer, smuggled the dead king home.
They hid him in the reeds, the birthplace of Kemet itself, hoping to find the magic to reverse the hate.
She had found him. Now, she would restore him. But the shadow was still terrified of the dark.
And so, the king was left alone, abandoned once more. The perfect hiding place, exposed by the eye of the night. But the king of chaos was not at peace. His victory felt hollow. He hunted for a release. The moon
dead kingdom. It was an intolerable stench.
The second rage. The discovery that his work was undone broke his mind.
His careful work, his perfect trap, undone. It drove him to madness. He had killed him, but he had not beaten him. He was still perfect. Still beloved. Still Osiris. The final madness. The rage of the storm. Undirected. Total. A body of the king. Defiled. Thrown into the mud he created. If he could not be undone by water, he would be undone by steel. 14 times he struck his brother, tearing apart the symbol of perfection. And so, the wrath of Set consumed the land. The body of the great king was torn asunder.
The witness!
So the pieces were strewn across the grim sands, scattered to the farmland. The river became a tomb. Piece by agonizing piece, the god-king was torn asunder, until nothing was left. Scattered across the land he loved. The king was dead. The king was gone. And chaos.
She returned. With the herbs of life. There was nothing.
The murder was complete. The desecration absolute.